Good morning, student. Today we have a new topic, that is environmental protection ethics. So I'm again here, Sandeep Gautam, Assistant Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, Tulaz Institute, Dehradun. Okay. So contents which we are going to cover in today's PPT. So we have introduction to environmental education, environmental legislation, act by the government, and conclusion and references. Okay, so let me introduce the Environmental Act, or the articles by which we have some duties and rights by which we can use the forest as a property. Okay, with which we are using something, and something we have to preserve according to nature. Okay, so let me introduce something. In India, or we can say India is the first country in the world to have made provision for the protection and conservation of environment in its constitution. On 5th June 1972, environment was first discussed as an item of international agenda in UN Conference on Human Environmental in Stockholm, and thereafter 5th June is celebrated all over the world as a World Environment Day. Okay, so constitutional provisions. So we have some articles by which we have some special duties, or the some instructions. So Article 48A: the state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and to safeguard forest and wildlife of the country. Article 51G: it shall be duty of every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forest, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. So some acts passed by the Government of India which we have to discuss. So first we have Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Forest Conservation Act 1980, Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974, and Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. So one by one we are going to discuss. So first we have Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So the act, a landmark in the history of wildlife legislation in our country, come into existence in 1972. Some major activities and provisions in the act can be summed up as follows. So point number 1, it provides for the appointment of Wildlife Advisory Board, wildlife wardens, their powers, duties, etc. Second point, we have under the Act, comprehensive listing of endangered wildlife species was done for the first time, and prohibition of hunting of the endangered species was mentioned. Third point, protection to some endangered plants like Bedouin shad, blue vanda, lady's slipper orchid, pitcher plant, etc. is also provided under the Act. Fourth point, the Act provides for setting up of national parks, wildlife sanctuaries, etc. Fifth point is the Act provides for the constitution of Central Zoo Authority. So Forest Conservation Act 1980s. So some features as follows. Point number 1, the state government has empowered under this act to use the forest only for forestry purpose. If at all it wants to use it in any other way, it has to take prior approval of from the central government. Point number 2, it makes provision for conservation of all type of forest, and for this purpose there is an advisory committee which recommends funding for it to the central government. Third point, any illegal non-forestry activity within an area which covered the forest can be immediately stopped under this act. But there is some amendment in 1992 in the Forest Act, which is as follows. In 1992, some amendment was made in the Act, which was the made provision for allowing some non-forest activities in the forest without cutting trees or limited cutting with prior approval of the central government. These activities are setting of transmission lines, seismic surveys, exploration, drilling, and hydroelectric projects. The last activity involved large-scale destruction of forest, for which prior approval of the central government is to be necessary. Water Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1974. The salient features and provisions of this act are summed up as follows. So point number 1, it provides for maintenance and restoration of quality of all type of surface and groundwater. Second point, it provides for the establishment of central and state board for pollution control. Third point, the act has provision for funds, budgets, accounts and audit of the central and state pollution control board. Fourth point, the act makes provision for various penalties for the defaulters and procedure for the same. Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1981. Salient features of the acts are as follows. First point, the act provides for prevention, control and abatements of air pollution. Second point, in the act, air pollution has been defined as the presence of any solid, liquid or gaseous substance, including noise, in the atmosphere in such concentration as may be or tend to be harmful to human beings or any other living creatures or plants or property or environment. Third point, noise pollution have been inserted as pollution in the Act 1987. Pollution Control Board. Fourth point is Pollution Control Board at the central or the state level have the regulatory authorities to implement the Air Act. Okay. So we have references from where we have taken this data. Environmental Science and Engineering, Anubha Kaushik, author C.P. Kaushik. And second, Environmental Engineering, Pavian Rao, McGraw-Hill Publications. So this is all about the Protection Act. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.